Episode 6 was Joan Carrigan teaching us how to make this amazing basket. Now, I really wish Joan were here with me right now to run through this, because she's one of the most enthusiastic human beings I have ever met. If you think I'm enthusiastic, you got to meet Joan. Well, you have met her if you've watched the episode. Anyway, it was so much fun to work with her. I love working with her. We have a great PDF to support everything step by step, all good close-up images of everything. And I have to say that Al's control of that camera was just so beautiful in creating this basket, because he got right in there and it was so much fun. There are kits that you can get to go with it, and there you go. I hope you make some. I hope you make some baskets. Everybody loved it. All right, I got to put this somewhere else. Right there. And now, here we are with episode 7. It was another double episode where we did a 4-shaft project and an 8-shaft project. And boy, oh boy, so much learning. Let's start with the 4-shaft. It comes with a great PDF. I love this PDF because it really, I think, beautifully explains how we get a double-faced twill on 4 shafts. The threading is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over and over and over. But way back in season 4, we spent the first episode learning about twills and learning about their 3 tie-ups. The 3 tie-ups on a 4-shaft twill are 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 4. That's called a 2-2 twill. And then the second one is just tied up to 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 1-3 twill. And then we have one more, which is the opposite. The last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're just raising 1 shaft, covering 3. Its opposite is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, moving across, but this time we're raising up 3 and leaving 1 down. So we use those 2 tie-ups, tie-up number 2 and tie-up number 3. The concept of weaving a pick on the top and a pick on the bottom, using those 2 different tie-ups together, gives us something that's called a double-faced twill. Now, I'm going to show you where we started, just as a reminder. We did this just last episode, so it shouldn't be too far from your head. Here's where we started. So let me show you the front and the back. There's the front, and there's the back. So it's positive, negative, completely positive, negative. But what's really cool here is we're not seeing, well, that is all gray. It's all charcoal. So we don't see things peeking through. I got to get you one where this makes sense. Let me do the end one. Let me go where we finished. All right, so here's one side. This is where we finished. We took a long journey to get here. On this side, you can see that we have a strong division of space in 3. 1, 2, 3. Our weft is pale limette, peacock, and pale limette, with little zingers in between separating it. And now I'm going to flip it over to the other side, and you're not going to believe the difference. So now we have, pull out, yes, brilliant. Now we have a division of space in 2. But I don't see my orange that are on the other side peeking through. See, though, I got those little orange fellers here. You can't see them here. So this is the magic on just 4 shafts with a straight draw threading, going from a pick of a 1-3 twill on the top to a pick of a 3-1 twill on the bottom. Top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. You can have one color on the top, another set of colors on the bottom. You can do so many different things with this, but we're making a double-faced fabric on just 4 shafts, and the weave structure is twill. I personally think that is super cool. For all you 4-shaft weavers who don't think you can do very much with your loom, have we proved that statement wrong? Over and over and over and over again. All right, so it's got a great PDF, like I said. It teaches you to think about composition for top and bottom, but we start simply where we just do an inversion. I weave one color on the top, the opposite color on the bottom, and when I change a color, I bring the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top. It's a really simple, easy way to learn how to do this. Here are those two tie-ups that I told you about, the 1-3 and the 3-1. You've all seen those. The next page shows us how to put them together so that you're weaving a pick on the top, a pick on the bottom, a pick on the top, a pick on the bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. We show one natural thought in the thought progression of how we might create this tie-up, but it's got a big sign beside it that says bad, no, and X, okay? But it's important to follow the thought process. Or for me, I have to break things down in the thought process of how this all goes together. So we have a 1 from the 1 tie-up, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and then we have a 2, and then we have 2, 3, 4, and 3, and 3, 4, 1, and 4, and 4, 1, 2. But what happens is if you use the tie-up like this, your bottom will be peeking through to the top, and the top will be peeking through the bottom. So we clean it up, and we stagger these. We start on the 1, but the next one is 1, 2, and 4. The next top is 2, and 1, 2, and 3. The next top is 3, the bottom is 2, 3, and 4. The last top is 4, and the last bottom is 1, 3, and 4. And you will notice that when we staggered that tie up, the 1, 2, and 4, 1, 2, and 3, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 3, and 4, it meant that the 2 was hiding under a 3-thread float, or the 1 was hiding under a 3-thread float. The 2 was hiding under a 3-thread float. The 3 was hiding under a 3-thread float, and the 4 was hiding under a 3-thread float. And that's how you can pull this all together. But it's really neat to see its journey. If you understand this, you own it, and it totally makes sense. Then we rearranged the treadle so that it was easier to treadle. This is one way to put it together, but if you want to change your direction, it gets more complex. Or I could split my treadles off for top treadles and then bottom treadles. And treadle kind of in a shadow weave formation. Super cool. Anyway, we went through all of this. We learned how to make a new hem, a different hem. That's something we've never done, is had an external hem. Our placemat ends here, but our hem sticks out on the top and the bottom, and it's plain weave. So it's a nice, clean, beautiful hem. It's external to the piece. Normally, I do this. I fold that hem down, and you have something like that. Plain weave hemmed to my twill. This is plain weave hemmed to plain weave outside the twill. So we run through all of these ideas, and we start simple. One color on the top, a different color on the bottom. When we change, we just change and bring the bottom color to the top color to the bottom. So there's the front, there's the back. Positive, negative. Number 2. Building other elements, building in other elements. Here we have built in a 4-pick sequence of 4 dark, 4 light, a color and weave sequence that we've used many times. Here we've got the stripes up at the top, and we've got solid on the back. Then we have solid on the front, and stripes on the back, and stripes at the bottom, and solid at the back. So, complete positive, negative situation happening. Then we tackle directional changes. We have directional changes happening here. Twill going in this direction, then in that direction, and this direction, that, this, that. Here you can see it all the way down. And how we manage that. And this, you'll note, is all charcoal here, but on the other side, it's all natural. We don't see that charcoal popping through at all. See? Super cool. Not showing it's a hair. Then we did a little bit where I wove a piece with plain weave in the middle to see if I could get some textural changes in the cloth. And we learned something very important from this. We learned that you had to change the weight of the plain weave. Our weft in all of this was 8/4 cotton. Then I changed it to 8/2. It wasn't enough. It's bulging out on the sides. And so I replaced in all the kits that go with this episode. The plain weave will be woven with 16/2 cotton, and it got rid of all of this bulging on the side. So that gives you a lot more to play with in the actual piece. Then we brought color and weave sequences into the game. And this is a 4-thread sequence. We have 4 picks in our twill on the top and 4 picks in our twill on the bottom. So let's pick a color and weave sequence that has the number 4 in it. And that was 3 light and 3 dark, 1 light. And on the other side, it's 3 light and 1 dark. So that's pretty spectacular to be able to have those sides be so different. Then we got more complex. I demonstrate all of this complexity I demonstrate at the loom so that you see how I did it. And we have a dark light sequence on the top with a dark light sequence on the back. And of course, something else is happening in this one because we are making things more complex as we go along. Here we have positive and negative, but here this is all gray, all charcoal, and on the front we have these stripes on top of it. So each time I laid something new on top of this idea, it became a little bit more complex, but because we worked at it step by step by step, it was easy to go along. And then I had to bring in color. I really needed to show you that you can bring any colors you want. So we've got alternating peacock and pale limet, stripe of brown, and this is all fuchsia. And the other side is brown and cayenne through the whole center. Again, they're not peeking through. You don't see any of them. Totally different sides. Color is completely hidden because it's hiding under a 3-thread float. And then the very last piece where we have different graphics and different colors on both sides. So this division of space, we looked at this piece already, is a division of space in 3 with singers dividing it on this side. The colors are pale limet, peacock, and pale limet. And on the other side, we have a division of space in 2, fuchsia on the top, cayenne on the bottom, peacock divider. And the PDF shows you how to handle the arithmetic with all of that. And there you go. Pretty cool, huh? For you 4-shaft weavers, you're going to love this. Absolutely love it. Everything in this set of placemats was inspired by these pieces right here. So right here, I'll just do this, and Al can come in and look at them. Way back in season 4, our very, very first sample was a division of space in 2, a 2-stripe. And on that, we learned about 2/2 twills, we learned about 3/1 twills, we learned about 1/3 twills. We learned about cut lines, we learned about directional changes and how to handle those directional changes. We learned about overlaying color and weave sequences on top of simple twill structures. We learned so much. And it was a lot of the pieces or a lot of ideas that were in here, I took from this set of samples. So once again, we are borrowing from what we've learned in the past and adding a whole new layer on top. Nifty pifty. Okay, one last thing to show you. That's not a true double weave. What we just talked about is not a true double weave. It doesn't have a double warp. It has a single layer warp. Just a single layer warp. It was set at 15 ends per inch. Now, this is a true double weave. We need 8 shafts to do a true double weave. So we have this great PDF. And you will notice that I started off with the graphics that I did on my very last piece. I used them as the inspiration for this piece. All right? There you go. That's one side. Division of space in 3. 1, 2, 3 with zingers and a little border. And the back side is a 2-stripe. All charcoal with gold. All right? Super cool. Whoops. This is all 2-2 twill. So this is completely based on a 2-2 twill. We learn, or first of all, before we actually learn about the tie-up and how the structure works, I wanted to show you how I design stuff like this. I start with a sketch that has the same number of threads in the top layer as it does in the bottom layer, and then I sketch and figure out what's going to be everywhere, and I take these two sketches together to come up with my threading sequence. When you watch this, how I look at these two images side by side to come up with my threading or my warping sequence, it'll make perfect sense. It is so easy to have this visual to see how I created that. Then we learn from this PDF what a 2-2 twill looks like on 4 harnesses. Right there. Can you come in closer? Yeah. Here he comes. All right. So there's our simple 2-2 twill. Well, then we learn how to thread our top layer on 1, 3, 5, and 7, and our bottom layer on 2, 4, 6, and 8. That's all written in here. But here's that same shape of 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4, and here we have it down here. But now it's 1, 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, and 1, 7. And that same shape on 2, 4, 6, and 8 is 2 and 4, 4 and 6, 6 and 8, 2 and 8. Then we need to marry those two together, which is here in the big tie-up, and we interlock them by adding the 2, 4, 6, and 8 to this side of the treadles. Over here, we have exactly what we had here, but we're lifting up all the 1s, 3s, 5s, and 7s to get them out of the way so that we can weave on the bottom. And once you understand that, man, is it a lot of fun. So we'll just run through these. Top, bottom, done. Top, bottom, slightly different graphic. The graphic is actually identical on the top and the bottom. The first one, they were different. Okay. Number 3, same sort of graphic, but this time we're bringing the colors from the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom. So there's the top, and there's the bottom. There's the top. There's the bottom. The bottom's all purple. And in the PDF, there's images of the top and the bottom of every one of these pieces, and you'll see how you figure out how to make it all work. Here we have a strong division of space in 2 with a zinger in the middle and a directional change as well. And on the other side, very, very different coloring. Front, back. All right. This textile is completely interlocked. You cannot pull this apart, not like Barbara's piece, not like my pockets. There's no pocket happening in here for me to stick sequin in. There's no place where I can pull the 2 layers apart. They are completely interlocked into one textile. But, well, let's look at this one first. There's the top, there's the bottom. Completely different, with a stupid dye lot change right halfway through, or almost at the halfway point. Grr. I hate dye lots. But we all have them. Anyway, the last thing we learned about this is that we could take those two, we could go back to our tie-up, and we could take those 4 little places where the bottom is being tied into the top, to make it interlock. We can drop them from the tie-up. So we drop the 2, 4, 6, and 8 from one side of our treadles, And lo and behold, we weave that piece of fabric on the loom like that. That's how it was, but the tie-up was changed. And then what I did was I wove a pick across the top and a pick into the bottom, a pick across the bottom and back up into the top. So I did some of the things that we learned about in Barbara's episode. Top, bottom, bottom, top, top, bottom, bottom, top. Where the shuttle leaves the top layer and goes down into the bottom layer, that's what creates the join. And when you take it off the loom, boom, it opens up. So I wove the whole piece, sort of following the colorways of the warp on the top and then moving into the colorway on the bottom. Fun, we have a directional change in the middle here. I get rid of that directional change by making a change to the tie-up, or when I was at the loom, I showed you how to treadle it if you can keep track of yourself a different way without changing the tie-up. But now we have no directional change, and I've brought in the happy colors from Parrot. And that is always a happy place to stop. So, wow. That was an awful lot of work this year. And I'm really, really happy with everything that was created and presented to you. And as I have said to you earlier, I'm just thrilled. I am over the moon that I have teachers coming, new teachers coming into the school. And they will bring a whole different level of education, not just me. You need to hear from other people. And that's what makes a school. And it's happening. It's happening. So that's it for this episode. Just one little tiny thing. Next month, we'll have our promo telling you what's coming out for 2025. And if you have any ideas of things that you want to learn that we haven't taught that can be done on 4 and 8 shafts, I'm just going to stick with 4 and 8 shafts because everybody, or most people, have got a 4-shaft loom. Tons of you have an 8-shaft loom, but when we get beyond that, it's a lot harder. However, you are getting such a good grounding in the theory of these weave structures that if you have multiple shaft looms, more than 8 shafts, you have the knowledge to take it there yourself. All right? Anyway, thanks so much for coming along this year. I'm sending you tons of love, and I'll see you again for sure in January.